Hi, so today is my second installment to talk about my multifamily plans. um, and today I was online doing some research and just went straight into it, didn't I? Okay, so today is March the 6th, 2020. It's my second video that I'm doing for you. And I made sure that I'm doing this video. I even need some chapsticks for my lips. I use a lip balm on my lips, which really helps me. And I was like, I'm not even gonna get up and get the chapstick because that's just one more thing that I have to do. Just get this video done and make a commitment to do these videos every day. I should say probably not every day. I won't do that to myself to say you have to do something every day, but extremely often to get these videos out so that I can chronicle, that is a word, to record, chronicle this journey of trying to achieve 120, I'm sorry, 200 units of multifamily housing. Two- 200 units of multifamily housing. I just said 120, and the reason why I said 120 is because, as I told you, that my husband and I own a grant writing firm, and we had just assisted a client to get grant funding for 120 tiny homes to build 120 tiny homes in Georgia. And to work on that grant was actually very, very stressful, exciting, but it definitely had a lot of moving parts. We had to do pro forma, we had to do schematics, we had to come up with the leverage, we had to write about 300 pages of narrative. We had to meet an exemption because this particular area that the property, the client has the land, didn't qualify for didn't qualify for the grant. But when the land don't qualify, or the area that you're in does not qualify, you can appeal for certain exemptions. So they actually met two of the exemptions. We chose the strongest exemption of the bunch, which was their area had a redevelopment plan and the property was in the area where the redevelopment plan was drawn. And they had some other things going on in the region that we highlighted, and we provided our documentation to show that this development could also help to redevelop that area. And they accepted our exemption, and so that qualified their application in the region. So that was the reason I was thinking 120, because I was just like, get this video done, get this video done, get this video done, and not thinking. So when I don't concentrate on my words, I start to say tons of things like that I'm not supposed to be saying because other thoughts are playing in the back of my head. Um, and also, when I do concentrate on my words, I say things that I'm not supposed to say. So sometimes I have to slow myself down to speak because just I just always end up saying things that I'm not supposed to say. Another thing that I do is I say the opposite of what I think to say. Like sometimes I'll say, oh, I'm thinking in my head, this is really hot, but I say, this is really cold. And I'm always saying the opposite. So I think I have some form of dyslexia. I've self diagnosed myself because I can't figure out why else that I would say the complete opposite of what I intend to say. So, anyways, I'm saying all of that to say that a couple of things going on in my life right now. One is I did some research today on the multifamily housing, and I'll tell you later what those things are. Please excuse me while I scratch my nose. multifamily housing. Two, tomorrow, Mike and I and Fia, we're actually driving down to the Florida Keys. I've always wanted to go to the Florida Keys, to the furthest southernmost part of Florida. So Mike got a hotel on the tippy furthest most point of Florida, and we're going to spend about 3 days down there. So we're spending the day tomorrow, just leisurely driving down there, spending about 3 days down there, and then spending the day driving back. I will be stopping to see my sister that lives in Fort Lauderdale for a few hours. I have a sister that lives in Fort Lauderdale with her husband and her 3 kids, so I'll be stopping down there. She had asked me for a laptop. So I was saying in my video yesterday about how we made some decisions with the business, and as a result of some decisions that we made with the business, I have a lot of laptops. So she'd asked me for one of the laptops, which I'm very happy to give her. So I'm giving her one of the laptops. So it's very, very fun. We're driving down to the Florida Keys because I desperately need a break. I need a break. Since we made some changes to the business last year, I made a trip to Jamaica last year in November during a little bit before Thanksgiving, and it was not a good trip. It was not a good trip. It was a very, very stressful trip. It stressed me out totally. And the reason why we went to Jamaica is because we actually, Mike and I own a beach house in Jamaica. So we try to visit there. We're actually trying to renovate the house right now to Airbnb it. You know, I've always had real estate ambitions, and this house, we've owned it since 2017. We bought it April 2017. Yeah. Beach house in Jamaica. That's another thing. I'll talk to you a little bit about that later on. So we are heading to the Florida Keys tomorrow, coming back in about 5 days, and then we actually have plans to go to Jamaica. The same house that I was saying is stressing me out. We have plans to go to the house for what's that thing called? Spring break. Spring break week is coming up. March 16th to the 20th, Fia is off from school. So I asked Mike to let us go to Jamaica for spring break, and he said yes. So we're actually taking Fia out of school next week to go down to the Florida Keys because they allow you. I don't even need to get into that. I'm taking her out. I asked Mike if I could take her out of school for a week for us to go down to the Florida Keys. So he said yes. So that's what's been going on with me, my most current things right now. And yes, a little bit about what the research that I did today online for my 200 units of multifamily housing. So I went onto the USDA website, and they have this program that you can apply for a construction loan if you're in like a rural area with a certain number of residents, and you can apply. They have your region's contact person that you can call to discuss what you have planned. And so I need to contact my contact person for Florida to find out what do I need to do to qualify. I think the region you have to be in cannot have more than 30,000 inhabitants, has to be like a rural area. So I think they have 3 multifamily pots of money. So one is you can build it for a family development, and that you can get a loan to build a multifamily development for family, and then you can get a loan to build a multifamily development for elderly. So they have the family pot and then they have the elderly pot. They also have money to assist existing multifamily uh, owners, multifamily property owners, where if you rent to low income people and the low income people are unable to pay their rent, then this multifamily assistance program will pay you, the landlord, for the tenants' rent because the tenants aren't able to pay because they're extreme low or extremely low income. That's another thing about the other pots of money too, where you can get a low interest loan to build a multifamily for family, and also a low interest loan to build multifamily for the elderly. Is that the people that you're going to house in the multifamily development must be low income or extremely low income. So that's the reason why they're making it possible for you to have this construction loan, or offering this construction loan to you, so that you can house low income people. So that was the USDA that was offering that on their website. Um, so I printed off just some basic information, so I need to read up on it and be better informed before I contact my local area's contact person, because I want to make sure that my approach sounds a little more educated. I don't want to sound too misinformed to talk to that person for the very first time. Yes, I absolutely don't know anything. I am going into it brand new, brand new. So that is obvious, but I want to present myself in a bit more informed fashion when I'm speaking to that contact person. So that was the USDA multifamily offerings that they have. I do know that HUD, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, they also have some offering, and I'm going to spend some time to research that, and then I can report to you what I did find on those multifamily um, opportunities for the funding for a construction loan. So that's my report to you for today. As I continue along this journey, I will make updates to you so that you know what's going on. So just stay with me while I go on this journey to construct my 200 units of multifamily housing for this year. That is my goal for the year of 2020. My goal is to have under my control 200 units of multifamily housing for myself. So that's my hope and my dream for myself. Um, Great news to report is that there is no new cases of the coronavirus in Florida. There are 3 cases in Tampa, actually, in the area we live. 2 in the same household, and I think they're 2 sisters or 2 life partners or something like that in one home, which they have asked them to stay in the home, and one senior person. So there are 3 cases. It has been those 3 cases for a couple of days now, and it's still the same. No new reported cases. So that is extremely good, because one of the thing about the coronavirus is we had bought the tickets to go to Jamaica before, well, the coronavirus was still going on, but I think it wasn't so, it, the coronavirus was still present. However, the response to the coronavirus wasn't as scary. People's response to it weren't so frantic. So a lot of people are saying that most of the people that have contracted the virus, they were in the airport at some point. And so the airport is being seen by people as some highly contagious area, it seems. So Mike was saying to me that he wanted us to cancel the trip to Jamaica because we would have to fly and go through the airport. um, so we have until next week because our ticket is actually March the 16th. So I don't know if he will change his mind. I haven't called Travelocity to cancel with them yet. So I'm seeing what actually happens. I agreed with him that we should cancel just because the stats speaks for itself, where the people who do have the virus, they were in the airport, they had traveled at some point. So obviously we don't necessarily have to contract the virus just because we were in an airport. However, the possibility does exist. So the decision is, what do we, the question is, what do we really do? And we need to make that decision. So he had told me that he does not want to travel to Jamaica this go round. He wants to cancel the trip. And I agreed. It's just that I have not actively canceled our tickets through Travelocity yet. So what I'm going to do is when we come back from the trip to the Florida Keys, then I will make that decision. Just based on how I feel. If I'm a little tired and can't be bothered to hit the road again, I'll cancel. Or if it looks like, things are improving, that the people who have contracted the disease are recovering, and that there are no more new cases in Florida, anyways, and that just people don't seem so scared and frantic and things are returning to some sort of normalcy, then I will try to encourage him for us to go to Jamaica after all. So that's my update for you for today. So this is Sarita signing out.